It's been a few months since we worked on the bunker project, and there's kind of a really big problem. Take a look at this. So if I open her up, these are the solar panels that bring electricity onto the batteries. But I don't know if you guys can see this. There's spider webs all over the place. That's a problem. That's a problem. Not sure if we should just burn the whole thing and start over or what, but today we are connecting my rainwater collection system to the bunker for a perpetual, never-ending supply of clean water. If you remember, about 2 years ago, I dug a really deep hole in my backyard and craned in some very large culvert pipes to make an underground bunker. It was a really fun project, and we've accomplished a lot since then, but it's not quite livable yet. In an extreme emergency, you can survive several weeks or months without food, but without water, you're only going to make it a few days. I've decided to redesign my garden's rainwater collection system to now include the bunker. I'll be taking down the gravity-fed tank from off the pallet racking inside the barn. It's been up there for a while, and we'll be putting it on the ground behind the barn, and then piping the rainwater into the bunker. Having 10,000 pounds of water up in the air has always made me a bit nervous, so I'm glad for this redesign in more ways than one. To prep the ground for the tanks, we've cleaned out all the weeds behind the barn and threw down some sand to help level out the surface. Each of these tanks will weigh about 10,000 pounds when full, so the sand will help keep the tanks from settling down in the mud when it rains. These larger tanks can cost about $1,300, but you can get much smaller tanks for way cheaper. Having water in an emergency is a pretty big deal. A single person needs about 1 gallon of water per day to survive, which means that between my two 1,500-gallon tanks, we should be able to have 6 people in the bunker live comfortably for about a year and a half, even longer if it rains. A year and a half is overkill to be sure, but since I'll also tap into the tanks to use it for the garden as well, it's multifunctional, as good projects often are. Choosing between living with spiders or staying above ground to fight off the extraterrestrial alien invasion is a decision for another day, but at least now with this much water storage, we will have options. Keep in mind though that if a water tank is going to be placed outside, it needs to be completely opaque, meaning no sunlight can reach the insides. We primed and painted the transparent tank black to match the other tank because if sunlight does make its way inside, algae can grow, making the water unsafe to drink. We will obviously have a filtration system, more on that later, but eliminating some of the contaminants before they have a chance to contaminate is always a good idea. Plus, I'm hoping that the black tanks will absorb more heat in the winter and help keep the water inside from freezing all the way through. But maybe that's just being optimistic on my part, since it gets super cold here in Utah.
I almost touched the black tank.
We will add an inline water purification system at some point to these 2 tanks, but the quickest and easiest way to get clean drinking water right now is with today's sponsor, LARQ. This LARQ Smart Water Bottle has a 2-stage filtration and purification system. That includes both UV and a nano-zero filter for better, cleaner tasting water. The PureViz self-cleaning technology inside the bottle eliminates up to 99.999% of salmonella. It's clean. And 99.99% of E. coli. The nanofiltration straw on the inside removes chlorine, pharmaceuticals, and the forever chemicals, and if you get the advanced filter, which I recommend, the LARQ bottle even removes heavy metals like lead. Water goes in and clean hydration comes out. The PureViz light inside cycles on every 2 hours to keep your bottle clean, and the app even reminds you to drink if you're somehow the type of person who forgets to do that kind of thing. The LARQ Smart Water Bottle has double-walled insulation to keep your water cold for 24 hours and a USB-C port to keep it charged for up to 2 to 3 weeks. And if you press the button at the top twice, it activates Adventure Mode, which purifies water from unknown sources like streams, or in my case, these water storage tanks. Dehydration impairs your concentration and decision making, so make a good decision and stay hydrated with 15% off of LARQ site-wide. Link is down in the description. Where was I? Oh yes. Both of the tanks will need to be sealed up as much as possible, since standing water in the summer can be a breeding ground for mosquitoes, and not only are those the worst, but they also probably don't taste very good. To lay the pipe from the tanks down to my bunker, we rented a trencher, which is actually a really cool machine. It's like a chainsaw for dirt. Thumbs up for how cool this looks from underground. May the force be with you. As we learned from excavating my bunker, dirt expands about 30% in volume when it's removed from the ground, because it's now uncompacted. But getting below that 30-inch Utah frost line is essential for having water flow in the winter, and trenching is the fastest way for us to get that deep. We can pack all the dirt back in once the 1-inch PVC pipe has been laid. Water helps compact the dirt back into the hole so it doesn't settle later. The only problem is now I have to enter into the spider's lair. It's not my bunker anymore.
It's bad.
Lots of spiders.
What's nice about the bunker being below ground though, aside from the spiders, is that since water tanks are above ground and about 15 feet above where the sink is in the bunker kitchen, we will get about 15 psi worth of pressure when we open the tap. 1 psi for every foot the water is raised off the ground. For reference, the average pressure of a tap connected to the city line is about 50 or 60 psi, but 15 will be plenty for what we need. It'll always be flowing.
Perfect.
Nice.
Nice. Look at all these cobwebs. No. Yikes. Some people might not even want to survive the apocalypse with this many spiders down here. But we have the water line from all the way down there to right here where we go out to the water tanks. Just getting ready to do some I can't believe that worked. Brute force. To create the manifold that connects both water tanks together, we're using a series of water shutoff valves. This way I can winterize the system, like let all the water out of the pipes during the winter, while the tanks can still collect the snow runoff from the roof. This way we won't have pipes breaking in this manifold area. The blue PVC glue we are using chemically fuses the PVC pipes together through a process called solvent welding. It looks cool and smells fantastic. The main connection goes into the ground towards the bunker obviously, but I've also added a hose connection point so I can drain the tanks into the backyard if I need to. There's also a third opening that heads over to the garden, since watering a garden with rainwater is healthier for the plants. It has more nitrogen in it, and rainwater is soft water, meaning it doesn't have the same salts and minerals that our tap water has, which, humans need of course, but plants do not. So it'll be fun to see how the plants like our new water system next year. I'll have to add a solar-powered pump at some point to run the drip irrigation system. As for collecting the water from the roof of my barn, we're just using a simple gutter. Gutters also use gravity to collect and transport water, and we have a 1/4 inch of slope for every 10 feet of length, which moves the water towards the downspout. The issue with rainwater collection though is that the rain will also be collecting dust from the roof, which will eventually settle and accumulate into the bottom of my water tanks. So I'll probably have to clean out my tanks every few years. With everything installed now, all we have to do is wait for rain. Or make our own. It doesn't rain often here in Utah, but based on my calculations and historical rain data, I estimate I will collect between 6,000 and 20,000 gallons of water per year, enough to fill and drain my tanks at least 2 times, and maybe up to as much as 5 times, which means I will have plenty of water for the garden or any zombie outbreaks that might arise. Rainwater falls on the roof, comes into the gutter, down the downspout, all the way into the tank. We'll now have enough water to fully survive any alien invasion, apocalypse, or, you know, a regular emergency. So I didn't think it would actually rain before the video went live, but we have water falling from the sky right now, and I can hear the rain hitting the roof. Let's see if any of that rain is actually making it inside of the tanks. Cool that we get to see the whole project from start to finish when it's actually raining outside. I can hear the water in the tanks, yes. Okay, here's the big tank. If you listen close, I'm excited about this. Success! I don't know how much we'll get, maybe an inch or two on the inside of the tank. It's not raining very hard, but it's working. We will have water in an emergency down in the bunker. So now that we have the water and we can store the water, how do we make the water drinkable? Join me down in the bunker. So down here in the bunker, I have taken the PVC and run it underneath the flooring. It's kind of a storage area for long-term supplies and food. Then the PVC comes up through the floor and into our sink, which there's kind of another problem. The humidity down here from the sprinklers, it's not watertight, and our countertop has been warping. But the whole theme of this project has been make it exist first and make it perfect later. We haven't quite gotten to that perfect part yet. But it is time to take a drink. Going back above ground and turning on the valve that lets the tank water flow down through the earth into the bunker. Moment of truth. It's a lot of work going into this. All the air should be coming through the system. It's crazy because I can hear it coming all the way down that shaft. Whoa! Yes! Woo! See how the bunker water tastes. Opening it up slower this time. That's so cool. Unlimited water. Adventure mode. It's been 2 minutes. Tastes like water. Not bad for coming from the rain. We will install a more permanent water filtration system later here in the bunker, but so far LARQ is doing pretty good. The discount code is down in the description. In the next bunker episode, we will be installing a combustible toilet in the bathroom over here, so hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and thanks a ton for watching. I'll see you